I am fascinated, actually, by Steve Ballmer because he really did, Jerry. He changed the trajectory of franchise values in not just the NBA, but all of pro sports. When he bought the Clippers and paid $2 billion top dollar, that's how a team like the Carolina Panthers can get sold for $2.4 billion. I mean, everybody in pro sports celebrated when Steve Ballmer wrote that check because every franchise went up thereafter. I'm actually fascinated by the guy. It's interesting to hear you talk about him the way you do and call him Mr. Ballmer the way you do. You really must think he's a great owner.
Well, as I say, I've seen no better, to be honest with you. Jerry Buss was right up there, as far as I was concerned, the late Mike Heisley. And with the Warriors, who they're owned by a group of people, but I really enjoyed my stay up there, too. They're just great people running the franchise. But the thing that makes it fun is when you win. And that, for me, I think, is what life is all about. The challenges of putting a team together and an organization that you have that can build and win a championship. And to me, there's going to be one team happy after every season. That's a team that wins it all. There's going to be some people that be very excited about, going on to next year. But at the end of the day, to work for someone like him, it's just been fantastic. And he and his wife Connie, I don't think I've ever seen more philanthropic people. And they do their homework when they do it. And it's just so much fun to watch how they contribute to society and also, more importantly, to causes that they carefully vet. They're just amazing people. And as I say, I feel really fortunate at the end of my career that he thought that I could contribute something to the team, and it's nice to be wanted regardless of what age you are.
I could imagine so. And by the way, with all of your championships and all of your hardware, I could certainly understand why a guy like Steve Ballmer would want a guy like Jerry West around. Jerry West, I'm with Scott Kaplan on 710 ESPN. So if you're going to build a championship team and now you're consulting for the Clippers, you're obviously going to need your best player. That's Kawhi Leonard. I know you know the news story, which is that he did not accompany the team down to Orlando. So, and the reason given was family matters, and people respect that. But what does that mean? Do you know, what does it mean for Kawhi when he'll get there? What he'll have to do? Look, you guys obviously got to have him. You went out and got him for this reason. What can you tell us about when Kawhi perhaps will show up, if you know?
Well, as I say, he's a remarkable player, first of all. He's unique in the sense that, he doesn't go around patting himself on the back. He's not one of those people who tells everyone how great he is. He is an unbelievably disciplined worker. And any time that he might miss, it's not because he hasn't done his work. But, again, he's just one of those guys that you would want on your team. He is very, very easy for other players to get along with. And at the end of the day, to have one of the two or three best players in the league on your team, it's awful nice to have, and particularly because he's so easy to deal with.
You expect him there sometime soon?
Oh, he'll be there. Trust me, he'll be there.
Okay, I do trust you very much. Absolutely. I'm wondering what you think, if you could put yourself into this mindset as a player. How I thought at first, Jerry, that it was going to be very easy. Wife and kids, no distraction. Nobody needs tickets. I'm not traveling and schlepping all over the place. It's just me, my team, coaches, meetings, rest, training, and playing basketball. But I'm starting to think this might be a lot harder mentally on players than I've thought or have given credit to. What do you think about the notion of zoning in, concentrating, versus perhaps guys that have a hard time with these new surroundings and conditions? What would you say?
Well, again, all these players know each other, okay? And it's probably good, when you have your off season, I think it's kind of nice to get back to things that are more normal. You don't have the competitive day of a game. You don't have the constant meetings, the film work that's done all the individual work is done, and certainly all the teamwork is done. But I think that to me, the most difficult thing, if I were involved in something like this, for me, the most difficult thing would be to really, how do you play games in an arena where fans, sometimes they lift you up when you're not, when you're not feeling your best and you don't have it that day. They can inspire a lot of people, but I think the real challenge is for these people to be in the same room every day, basically by themselves. I'm not sure what the interaction is going to be with each other's players, because I did not read the manual, and frankly, deliberately, that is given to all players and all personnel when they're trying to when this was being implemented. So at the end of the day, it's just something that I think everyone is going to have to test their own mettle, to be honest with you, because people want to be not so confined, but there are so many rules that they are literally going to be in a bubble. And I think the emotional, mental part of it, they get there and they haven't played basketball for 3 months, mm-hmm. And here they are being asked to go back and play the way they were playing, which was probably at the top of their game, completely away from their friends who they interact with, and more importantly, some of them who have families. I think that's going to be the challenge. To say, I don't know if I could handle being in the same room every day and not be able to get out and roam a little bit. I would feel so confined, and I think you're going to see changing habits. I'm hoping that the players will start to read. There's so many great reads out there today about leaders, about what's going on in this world, as people that inspire you. I would hope that some of them would take it upon themselves to become readers where it's just not for pleasure, but to learn. I think that could help some, but everyone is different, and that's what makes it so unique. We have a great group of people, great, but there are some different personalities there, and it's not getting along, but this team really gets along well. It's about how they can discipline themselves when they just want to get out of their darn room.